5-month-old baby, mother rescued from Lagos Canal. Also on the front page, farmers and herders crisis. Southern Middle Belt leaders reject federal government ranches. That are some of, or those rather, are some of the headlines on the front page of the Punch this morning. 0906 202 9933 is the number to call. We move to our next paper now.
From the Punch newspaper, I'll move it over to the Guardian newspaper for today. And this morning, the Guardian is looking quite heavy with the leading story that says, design flaws in new roads. Public facilities leave persons with disabilities stranded. The story is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper, and it's quite graphical to help you understand the extent of which this goes to affect the PWDs, as the persons living with disability. Now we have 35.1 million people, roughly 15% of Nigerians, 2% access now, but then roughly 15% of Nigerians live with disabilities. Yet, only 2% of buildings are truly accessible to the people living with disabilities. You'd see a circle right there, 98% inaccessible buildings. And you can see the tiny red line on that circle showing how little percent have access to building, those living with disability now. Example, tokenism, over rail access, steep ramps leading to stairs or heavy doors. I mean, how do people on the wheelchair using the crutches be able to access these buildings? When these buildings are being erected, they are being constructed, do they have a mind of people living with disabilities as well? That's what this picture is trying to determine now. Across critical sectors, health facilities, we have only 28% lack basic accessibility feature. Political offices, only 10.2% have a tactical signage for visually impaired. Digital presence, 51.1% political websites remain inaccessible. Access denied, basically to those living with disabilities. Barriers to barrier-free Nigeria. Weak institutional enforcement. Design stage failure. Beyond just ramps. How do you make it accessible for these people? It just goes ahead to explain the difficulties those on the wheelchair and others visually impaired and on others, struggle and find it difficult to access some of the buildings they visit, the hospitals, the political places, the political offices, the digital presence and all. But you can grab a copy of The Guardian to further understand that story. But then you can also let us know your thoughts on the story as well. 0906202933. Atiku insists on subsidy as presidency challenges funding, cites 19.1 trillion naira burden. Federal government unveils 365 million naira prize for outstanding academic research and innovations. Experts seek FCCPC's intervention as FAN defends e-hailing service ban. Federal government launches $1 billion scheme to support poor households. We getting the poor out of the poverty level, or we have more people in that space. Group condemns fresh petrol price hike. Demand audit of refinery funds. APC to reshuffle campaign cancel over pressure from North and Southeast. I remember we did dive into that topic yesterday. Southern Middle Belt leaders reject federal government's livestock scheme. EFCC recovered over $500 million cash assets in 3 years, says the chairman, Olukoyede. And those are the stories you would find on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Any of the stories interest you, then let us know your thoughts. It is 09062029933. You can head over to our live broadcast on YouTube, and the numbers are rightly displayed on the screen. Or you can head over to the YouTube channel, go to the comment section. You'll definitely find the live broadcast there, and you can leave your comments just by the comment section. But that's The Guardian this morning. Let us know your thoughts.
All right, we'll switch over to the Vanguard newspaper this morning. It has the leading headline, NFF President, other board members resign. Details on page 32, that's a big one. And of course, we have Tinubu receives NLNG management, and there's a picture of the Deputy Managing Director, NLNG, Olakunle Osoba, Managing Director and Chief Executive, NLNG, Adeleye Falade, President Bola Tinubu, Minister of Information. I'm talking about Mohammed Idris, and Managing Director, Total Energy, Matthias Boya, during President Tinubu's audience with NLNG management at the presidential villa yesterday in Abuja. Beside that one, federal government gives conditions to concessionaire on Benin-Asaba Highway. U.S. halts all immigrant visa applications amid tightening restrictions. Despite falling crude price, petrol hits 1,212 naira per litre. Bonny Light drops from $94 to $90.28. Depot price hits 1,735 naira per litre in Port Harcourt. Well, for our people in Abuja, what can you tell us about the depot price? Well, the report from Vanguard on that particular subject is that it's now selling at 1,735 naira per litre in Port Harcourt. 12 depots increase prices. That's coming from a report. Dangote Refinery determines market pace. Experts. Dangote Refinery expresses concern over importation. NSCIA flays federal government over Niger terror attacks. Iran's Hormuz blockade will worsen food crisis in Nigeria, and others. U.S. warns. $16 billion per sector expenditure. Produce evidence against me. Atiku tax Tinubu. Also at the top strip, the federal government records a 2.18 trillion naira fiscal deficit in third quarter of 2025. Civil service must own its reforms. Digital tools, Wilson Jack. Civil service must own its reforms and digital tools. Wilson Jack, the outgoing head of the civil service. The Three Musketeers and the Lone Ranger, two great African families by Ben Murray. Well, that should be an editorial there. Fuel subsidy, Atiku's third U-turn exposes political posturing. That's coming from the presidency. Well, that's a rundown of what it looks like on the front page of the Vanguard this morning. Let us know your thoughts. 0906 202 9933 as we begin to pick the headlines apart one by one. Marian.
Indeed, let us know your thoughts. Which of the stories are you running with this morning? 090620299933. That's the number for you to dial to be part of the program this morning. Atiku insists on subsidy as the presidency challenge the funding, cites 19.1 trillion naira burden. And I'll still go back to say, he said he's on. Let him say what he wants to say. Good morning to you, Elder Naja. Welcome. Good morning, Elder Naja. I guess we'll get back to the calls when we eventually get a connection. Now, the presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress, Elder Naja, good morning. The presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, now that's Atiku Abubakar, has insisted he will restore targeted petrol subsidy if elected, as the presidency questioned its funding an estimated annual cost of 19.1 trillion naira for the country. Now, Atiku argued that subsidy removal had pushed more Nigerians into poverty, stressing that the government's responsibility was to protect the welfare of citizens. He said Nigeria was rich enough to provide relief for its people and pledged to improve both economic and physical security if elected. And now, this current government is saying you're going to spend about 19.1 trillion naira if you bring back subsidy. But that is what he says he's going to do. You go ahead and do what you have to do. But good morning to you. Yakubu from Kuje, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mariam.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning, Ogochiku.
Good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, let me react on Atiku and the APC. You see, I don't really understand why APC are just worried over the comment of an opposition saying he will return back subsidy. It has become a headline for the past 1 or 2 weeks now. Please, APC should move on and allow this man to rest. They are just scared. That is just what I see. The money they save from the subsidy for the past 3 years, they promise us if subsidy is being removed, they will not be borrowing any money. But the last time I checked my record, this government have borrowed ×2 of what Buhari borrowed in the past 8 years. So, in my own opinion, subsidy, they should allow Atiku to campaign for himself. We Nigerians will decide on the D-Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yakubu, for your contribution. Yours can also come through at this moment, 09062 029933. That's one of the stories you'll find on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. And then APC to reshuffle campaign cancel over pressure from North and Southeast. It feels like they've been left out in the committee being set up. We have CSOs, lawyers, others reject APC claim to perpetual power. Complaint over the composition of the All Progressives Congress campaign council for the next year general elections, may have unsettled the presidency, forcing it to consider tweaking the council a bit. Now, from the North, a grassroots group backing President Tinubu yesterday threatened to withdraw its voluntary mobilization effort if former Borno State Governor Senator Ali Modu Sheriff remains in the APC presidential campaign structure. Good morning to you. We can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning, my sis. God bless you.
Thank you for joining us, Evangelist Kolo.
Thank you. The Lord is your strength. Yes, the last caller have said it all. My sister, we that wear the shoe, we know where it's pinching us. You said in 2015, subsidy is a scam. Who is scamming who? Atiku Abubakar said it in 2019, that Nigerians own this fuel, but Nigerians are not benefiting on this fuel. He's going to sell NNPC to make sure that Nigerians benefit from their own oil. Buhari went and take over his policy and saw the NNPC. Where are we today? Because it's not his brain. Atiku has succeeded both private and public. He's a man that has fed more than 1,500 people since 1987 or 88 till now, under the Nico test, Intel given to branch in Port Harcourt. So if such man is coming out to tell you the best vice president we have had since 1990 now, no any other vice president has beat his record. The man that has been feeding the nation 1,500 workforce under one man is not a small, it's not a memory. So that person has succeeded, both private and public. Why can we not give him chance? Because he has done the best out of the best. So let Nigerians be wise. You said subsidy is a scam. Today you brought subsidy upon Nigerians. We can't eat 1 square meal again. I have a car, I can't drive a car again. You say we should not go back to subsidy? No. Let Atiku, God give him that power and bring back subsidy. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you for your contribution. We do appreciate them. And now, civil society organizations, the CSOs, lawyers, and opposition politicians have dismissed the declaration by the Director General of the All Progressive Congress APC Presidential Campaign Council, Senator Abdulaziz Yari, that the ruling party would remain in power beyond 2031, saying political power belongs to the electorate and not any political party. While dismissing negative reports about the campaign council list, the presidency said the structure remains in place but will undergo some adjustment. So probably in the coming days, we might see some adjustment of that. Elder Najer from Kubwa, good morning to you.
Good morning, beautiful daughter.
Good morning to you, my daddy. Welcome.
Good morning, Gojuku.
Good morning, Elder.
Good morning, Dr. Daramala, original doctor, and Isaac from Omega from Maraba. Good morning to everybody. My sister, where you say they flood 3 people, which state is that? Hello?
We can hear you, sir. Go ahead.
Which state you say flood 3 people, Let me, hello, if you are hearing me, let me go directly to my point.
Yes, please. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, you see, this water supposed to be getting to us. Go to Libya, the time where we go to court in Libya. Most of this flood where you see is supposed to be channeled to, that water is supposed to be channeled to where there's no water. You see something like a flood in River Bene, Kogi, and this and this. Those pipes where Buhari used, he went to take a crude oil to the jail. Those pipes, they're supposed to use it to channel water to the place where there's no water. Something like most of the Benue states, most of the Cross River states, most of the Benue states, there's no water. They're supposed to use that pipe to channel water to that place. Anytime when they go, they will build a small dam for them, and then village. They call something reservoir. You did it for them. And then you channel those water around those places, around the place where there's no water. That's what they're supposed to do with that water in Nigeria here. We have the Federal Ministry of Water, they are doing nothing.
All right.
We have environmental control, they are doing nothing. They don't do anything until they will allow that water to waste and continue destroying people of Nigeria property. When federal government are giving them the money to do this thing, the water is supposed to be a blessing to us. And they are part of ranking. There is no ranking in Benue. There is no ranking in Benue. We forgive people, we support them. Nobody can establish ranking in Benue.
All right.
Continue killing people. Thank you very much. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you, Elder Noja, for your contribution.
Yes, indeed. The issue in Benue is of concern to a lot of Nigerians, where farmers had this crisis. Southern and Middle Belt leaders reject federal government ranching plan. The Southern and Middle Belt Leaders Forum has rejected the federal government's proposed pilot ranching scheme in parts of the Middle Belt, and they described it as an attempt to take over ancestral lands under the guise of livestock development. And he said he was particularly concerned that the proposed pilot areas included Nasarawa, Plateau, Southern Kaduna, Taraba, and the FCT. And in fact, they are charged to communities and governments in southern states is to prepare to resist the policy. The development comes barely days after the Middle Belt Forum rejected the federal government's renewed ranching policy, describing the proposed allocation of land in the region for livestock production as a potential land grabbing scheme. And you can understand why this is a current debate at the moment. Good morning to you, CJ. We have CJ on the line. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome. Please go ahead.
Yes. Federal government have come again to seize people's land and give Fulani herdsmen for ranching, which is very bad. This is a private business. It's a private business. It's not a government business. Why are they creating problem for the future, for the generations to come? The one that Britain has given us, we are suffering it. You understand? And they want to bring ranch. It's uncalled for. It's not good. Nobody will come and tell my community everybody should bring land to give a Fulani herdsman. It cannot work. It never cannot work. if he work in a farm north, he cannot work in eastern Nigeria. Which land are they going to bring to give a Fulani herdsmen? They should stop that once for all. If a Fulani man wants to do ranching, he should sell his cow. One cow, the big cow now is almost 5 million or 2 million. He should sell his cow and go and purchase land. Anybody who is ready to sell land, like other people, are buying land. It's not good. These people now, they want to use them and begin a cause problem in generation to come. And by the grace of God, it can never happen. And you people, please, you stop telling us farmers clashing. It's not that farmers clashing. It's the headers attacking farmers, please. When Nigeria will report the headers farmers clashing,
all right.
BBC will send headers attacking farmers. It's not good.
Thank you, CJ. Thank you. But don't also forget, we're only reporting the stories as we see it on the papers. But all the same, thank you very much for your contribution and for being a part of the program. 0906-202-9933. Away from the crisis in the Middle Belt and the southern part of the country, let's also bring to your attention something on the Punch this morning, where Dangote threatens to expose petrol as imports rise. The Dangote Petroleum Refinery has threatened to export excess petrol stocks as rising imports create uncertainty around domestic demand and make inventory planning increasingly difficult. Now, the refinery is saying that imported premium motor spirit, that's fuel, accounted for approximately 43% of the fuel supplied into the Nigerian market in July, despite its capacity to meet and exceed domestic demand. I mean, look at what is playing out here. And according to Dangote, the continued issuance of petroleum product import licenses had created uncertainty in demand planning and inventory management, forcing it to reconsider how much petrol it should keep in stock for the domestic market. And I mean, they're just raising this concern now to say, look, if this is not addressed, we may have to send some of the petrol that we have outside the country. And despite the fall in crude price, this one is on Vanguard. Petrol hits 1,212 naira per litre. We have Isaac from Karu on the line. Good morning to you, Isaac.
Good morning.
You're welcome, Mr. Isaac.
Good morning, Mr. Pooh. Marian, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
APC and Atiku, I think they should better leave Atiku alone.
Mr. Isaac, would you mind speaking up a little bit more? We can barely hear you.
Okay. I say APC and Atiku, they should better leave Atiku alone to campaign. Because the subsidy they removed in 2023, we don't benefit anything from it. Instead, it's the governors and the Tinubu cabinet that are benefiting. So if Atiku say he will return subsidy and it will benefit us, they should allow him. Now, the remove subsidy, look at the kind of money they borrow. They are just investing, looting money, not doing anything for the masses. We are hungry. We cannot eat food in a day. So if return subsidy and we live fine, good and fine. So why are they stopping themselves about they should go out and campaign, tell us what they have done and what they are going to do. Then leave Atiku alone. Thank you. God bless you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Isaac Onoja, for your contribution. Depot price hits 1,735 naira per litre in Port Harcourt. 12 depots increase prices. And let's take a look at that particular story, which you can find on the Vanguard. Despite drop in price of crude oil in the global oil market, operators in Nigeria's downstream sector have increased the prices of PMS, also known as petrol, by an average of 1,212 naira per litre from 1,158 naira. And that's an increase of 4.7%, which has triggered fresh worries in the polity. When you take a look at the price of global crude, we have the price of Brent, which is used in benchmarking other crudes. It dropped to 88.42. Also, the price of crude from the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Companies, countries, OPEC, called the OPEC basket, including Nigeria's Bonny Light, dropped to 90.28 from more than $94 per barrel before. Now, the retail prices coming from MRS, NMPC, and Adova, there's been an increase from 1,205 naira to 1,125 naira per litre. Also, Mobil increased its retail price to 1,215 naira. Now, there are 12 depots who have increased prices across Lagos, Port Harcourt, Calabar, and Warri as of midday yesterday, according to the Vanguard newspaper. Now, in Port Harcourt and Lagos, it's quoted between 1,668 naira and 1,735 naira. We have Mr. GB from Life Camp on the line. Good morning to you, GB.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, GB. You're welcome.
Yeah, good day. My name is GB from Lifetime. Thank you for having me here for robust, intelligent, and mature discussion. So we say talk is cheap, opinion is free, fact is sacred to universal. Dangote increased depot or gantry price, and other depot also have increased their price. That is the feature of the regulation. There are many factors that affect price. Like now, the price of crude have dropped globally by about $2 or $3. But the price increase because there are other factors, maybe foreign exchange rate and or delivery or transport or whatever added to it. That's why we're waiting for what is his name, Atiku, to come and put on paper, to come and split, give us this kind of subsidy you want to introduce. For between 1 week or thereabout, is himself and his aide are confused. They have brought out 3 or 4 ways they want to subsidize or bring subsidy back, and none of them there's no clarity. Somebody is saying that subsidy have not done anything. If subsidy have not been removed, the price of fuel will have been like 5,000 per litre today, and that suffering they say that suffering now will have tripled because you not even see that fuel to buy for 200 or 300 naira. Let's be realistic. Yes, you want to get populist opinion in popular and say something, but what is putting out is not implementable. It's okay, I will give them crude at control price. How do you not control the output of that crude? There are 5 components you can get from crude. Petroleum about 45% of it. The remaining percentage, how do you value it? How do you generate it? It's like something happened on life. Yeah, you can appeal to the literate, you can appeal to the we are suffering, but that suffering will double.
All right.
It's something that has not been removed. And what is bringing is not workable. He just is confused himself. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, GB. And you can find that particular story that GB is talking about on the Vanguard and a couple of other papers this morning. Fuel subsidy, Atiku's third U-turn exposes political posturing coming from the presidency, accuses ex-VP of lacking basic understanding of his newfound policy prescription. The presidency has again taken a swipe at former vice president and presidential candidate of the ADC over his alleged flip-flops on fuel subsidy, accusing him of political posturing. It also said Atiku was suffering from a lack of basic understanding of his newfound policy prescription, unquote. You can go to the statement that was put out by the special advisor to the president on information and strategy. Bayo Onanuga is on X. That's where he said some of these things. Recall that Atiku had said that he would return fuel subsidy to assuage the sufferings of Nigerians if elected. And also on the Vanguard, we have this headline, which really just catches my attention. NFF President Gusau, other board members resign.
I was actually waiting for you to
I mean, there was no way I was going to miss that. The president of the NFF, Ibrahim Gusau, and other board members have resigned. Of course, they've come under intense pressure following the poor management of Nigerian football. We'll get back to that in a moment. We have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ugo from Kuje.
Yes, good morning. Please, I just want to very quick one pass information. Yeah, by this time yesterday, there's a place they call Abia House. If you're going from Secretary to Banex, direct opposite it, a young man was killed there. This back then every people. His body was there. So people were passing. I don't know who come and carry the body later. But what I'm trying to say is, in the evening when I was coming back, I stopped beside that place. They have removed the body. The leaf that they used to cover the man was still there. But what I'm saying is, right inside there, there's a deep forest there. And the boys were still crossing, entering that place. And those people that killed that boy came out from that place. So why can't police or whoever go and comb that place? We were wondering, why is it that people, they still allow boys to be there by that same yesterday, hiding inside that bush? And they were the people that killed that rider. Please, security should intervene, go and remove those boys there.
Thank you.
And the other aspect, I know you people have heard that Kuje chairman say all of us should vacate from Kuje if we are not supporting APC. It's not a very good political
Mr.
statement.
We don't have that on the papers this morning, but we want to
I
thank you.
I know. Sorry.
Yeah.
This
so
too is
join
not
us for our subsequent conversations on that particular subject. Thank you so much, Ugo, and also for your situation report. Thank you so much for your situation report. Let's allow the security agencies to do their job and to make their own investigations as to who may have committed the crime. Okay, it's not for us to say. We may not have equipments and resources at our disposal as citizens to actually say, oh, this is the person who did this. Or so let's allow the police and the security agencies to do their investigations and then hopefully conclude the case. But all the same, thank you, Ugo.
Yes, thank you. I mean, it's a collective responsibility. Together, we'll make sure that our country and our state is safe. And thank you for that situation report that you did bring in. And as regards to the Kuje Area Council chairman, he's come out to say his comment was taken out of context. And we wonder what context was it taken out of. We saw you in the video. We heard what you said in the video. But we'll wait for further explanation to let us know the context in which he was speaking on, because you said, and we heard in that video, if you're not with us, you're against us, pack your load and leave Kuje Council. And then here you are saying that it's taken out of context. We'll got another caller. Good morning to you. Good morning. Mr. Daniel from Kefi, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Daniel from Kefi.
Wake up, we can hear you.
I'm waking up already. I am with you since you people have started.
Oh, I love it. So let your voice do that as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You see, I want to speak on this back and front of issue of petroleum issue. Now, they are telling us directly that petroleum has increased price again and again and again. You know, since that time that they said they left everything in the hands of the marketer to be determining the price. Even though globally things are happening. Abego, this article idea is what we want to. We don't know. We don't want to say. We don't want them to tell us we will not understand this one. Understand. All what poor masses want is to have soft landing of life. When life is difficult, people are not finding things funny. And once petroleum increase price again, it's a problem. They have not explained about about refinery. They are not saying anything about refinery in Nigeria. All these problems that we're having is because refineries are not working. If refineries are working, we are refining here. This petroleum or whatever is from this country. It was a natural resource that was given to us by God. Let us also manage it within here. But going and front to go and refine outside and come. That's what they say they are giving it in dollars. This one, confusion everywhere. They should go straight forward and tell Nigeria what exactly is happening. I pray that God will help this country. They think don't be tired people, I bet.
Thank you. We understand sometimes it can be frustrating because you're going back and forth with the price of petrol. You can't even plan your day, your business. You go out today, it's 1,000 naira to get to your office. The next day is 1,500, 1,200. The next day it's another money being increased, and you're met with so much of uncertainty. So it's better we're able to rightly define our day-to-day activity than just be put out there.
But you know, it's also the same concern that Dangote himself or the Dangote refinery are raising to say there's a lot of fuel still coming in, and so they cannot exactly determine how much they can, put out into the market and how much they can make. Remember, they have, said repeatedly that they have enough to meet what is our demand locally. So if we still have more coming in, what are they supposed to do with the stock that they have already?
You have here, then you export. Good morning to you, Saminu from Life Camp.
Yeah, good morning, Auntie Mariam. Good morning, Coach Gru.
Good morning, sir.
This is Saminu from Life Camp.
Go ahead.
Happy Thursday to you.
What is she saying?
My regards to my elder Onoja, a very good senior to me.
Got 20 more seconds, straight to the point.
Yes, okay. You see, the fuel subsidy issue, to me, it's rather very unfortunate the situation we find ourselves today in Nigeria. Nigeria is a country, I would say we are too rich to be poor because we have the resources, the manpower, and able to make this country great. If Atiku wants to bring back the fuel subsidy and Nigeria will enjoy it, so let it be. In the last 3 years of this administration, they have borrowed more money than the 8 years of last administration before this one. What have they done with the money? I want to see how the APC campaign team will convince Nigerians for them. Nothing is working at the moment. Unfortunately, it's too much corruption into the system. If corruption can be fought, discipline can be introduced, I think to go a long way. And finally, on the ranch issue, I think federal government should allow those states that want it, those that don't want it, so let it be. It's vulnerability on Nigeria. May God continue to bless Nigeria with good leaders because we have all it takes to make this country great. Finally, Nigerians, we are still in rainy season. Please drive to save life, drive to obey traffic rules and regulations so that accidents can be reduced to the barest.
Thank you,
Saminu. Always. Have a lovely day.
And you too. Always advocating for better road usage. But we appreciate it every time that you do remind us, to be careful on the roads. But we appreciate you. In the FCT, there are a lot of concerns as regards to demolition ongoing, and the residents are really some captured our attention yesterday, even online, where some are saying they're currently homeless. The number of days, 21 days is specific, given to them to evacuate was cut down to 5 days, and now they're out of their homes and they're stranded. But then you can let us know if you know someone who's affected or you are. Let us know your comments as regards to that. You can better give us information. Just give us the chat and the reply on our live broadcast on YouTube. Text on the comment section, or you want to be anonymous, it's fine. Just text us on the same number, 090-6202-9933. And the number is also displayed on the screen watching live. And
meanwhile, on that NFF story, there's been no confirmation. Usually when, an official resigns, there's a statement either on the X handle or on an official media channel to say, look, we've decided to step away. But from the president or any of the board members who are said to have resigned, there's been no statement. So you heard it exactly as reported by the Vanguard, in case tomorrow you still hear that the NFF president is Ibrahim Gusau. But interestingly, the elections are coming up in Lafia, Nasarawa State, on the 27th of September. We do not know if all of this pressure and all of this debate is going to affect the elections, and in fact, if the current board will be re-elected. So let's just keep our fingers crossed.
The NPFL is also set to get about 60%.
It's
a new $7.5 million sponsorship deal.
Well, it's already happened. It's been over 10 years we heard the Glow Nigeria Premier League. Since they stopped sponsoring, we've not had yet another sponsor, but thankfully they've been able to secure a sponsor. Yeah.
And we do hope that it's going to make the season even much more better.
And sweeter.
with the new sponsorship deal. But let's wrap up with Mr. and Mrs. right now of the Vanguard newspaper. Mr. Billy.
This Mrs.
AKA Mr. who dodges the bill.
So let's see what Mr. is saying today. So in this case, what's the difference between alert and alarm?
Mister, you're really asking what's the difference between alert and alarm?
What's the difference?
Well, Mrs. is replying, you promised to send 150,000 naira. So I was expecting a bank alert. But you sent 80,000 naira. And that was an alarm.
Mrs.
But
I said something now. Manage.
Are you protesting? I am not Yakubu. I rather flourish than manage.
Oh my. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of the newspapers. Up next is the news with Fanen at the top of the hour, 7 o'clock. And when we return, well, there's a development from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. We'll tell you all about that in a moment. Stay with us.
Top of the hour? Don't worry, you can now get the news as it breaks. Download the Real Broadcasting Network free mobile app for Android, Play Store, and web to get breaking news alerts as the news breaks. Also, get more detailed perspectives on all major news reports when you visit our website, realmediang.com.
Every street has a story. Every struggle carries hope. Every dream deserves a voice. We walk where the people walk. We honor our culture. We tell the stories that matter. This is not just news. This is your story, your voice, your network. Real Broadcasting Network. We the people.
You can always set the agenda here on the Real Broadcasting Network. See it, record it, and share it with us via the free Real Broadcasting Network mobile app for iOS and Android. It's simple. See it, record it, and share it to see it make news headlines. It is Real Broadcasting Network. This is Real 993. Time check is 7 a.m. From our global news center, we bring you the latest happenings on the real news.
This is the RBN News Hour from the Real Broadcasting Network. Hi, I'm Fanen Kouanum. Here are the top stories. The African Democratic Congress has called for the immediate arrest and prosecution of Kuje Area Council Chairman Samuel Shekowolo over an alleged threat to residents who refuse to support the APC. In a statement by its National Publicity Secretary Bolaji Abdullahi, the party says the reported statement amounts to a threat of forced displacement and violates citizens' constitutional rights. The ADC linked the development to alleged threats made by APC Senator Francis Fadaunsi during the August 15 Osun governorship election. The ADC also demands the reopening of the case against Senator Fadaunsi, the preservation of evidence from both incidents, and disciplinary action against the Kuje chairman. Meanwhile, the chairman of Kuje Area Council, Samuel Shekowolo, has denied threatening to expel residents who do not support the All Progressives Congress APC. Speaking during a media engagement on the controversy, Shekowolo said his remarks were misrepresented and did not reflect the intended meaning.
In recent days, certain statements I made were taken out of context and leading to a distorted narrative that does not reflect my true intent, core values, or the official position of this administration. While I deeply respect the press and its vital role as a pillar of our democracy, it is crucial to clarify what the intent of the message was for and who. The remarks in question was made in a specific context aimed at addressing administrative efficiency, local development, and community work.
The chairman maintained that he remains committed to inclusive governance and the welfare of residents, saying his administration will continue to focus on serving the people. And away from politics, Nigeria is taking a new approach to managing its renewable energy investment with the launch of the Renewable Asset Management Company, RAMCO. Belema Ikiriko was at the launch and now reports.
As Nigeria expands investment in solar and other renewable energy projects, stakeholders say building the infrastructure is only one part of the job. The other part, according to them, is maintaining the assets and ensuring that they continue to deliver value. This perhaps informed the establishment of the Renewable Asset Management Company, RAMCO. The managing director of the Rural Electrification Agency, REA, Abba Aliyu, says it will provide institutional framework for managing, maintaining and preserving renewable energy assets over the long term.
Nigeria built world-class energy infrastructures and then watched part of it deteriorated. Not because of engineering failure, but because we had not adequately institutionalized what happens after the commissioning of the project. There was no sustainable maintenance regime, no dependable revenue mechanism, and critically, no institution whose primary responsibility was to preserve those assets throughout their economic lives.
The Ministries of Power and Finance are also expected to support the initiative as government seeks to make renewable energy investment more sustainable and attractive to additional financing.
I'm sure most Nigerians don't know that we have a mini grid in this country that actually produces up to 100 megawatts. It's in Suleja. They just got additional 500 hectares to build another 200 megawatts to power a whole industrial park, including a steel manufacturing company. This is one of the initiatives to help us optimize our assets.
As Nigeria continues to expand its renewable energy infrastructure, the success of RAMCO ultimately depends on how effectively these assets are managed, maintained, and turned into sustainable and productive investment. From Transcorp Hilton in Abuja, Belema Ikiriko, RBN News.
And that is the RBN News Hour. Thank you for staying with us on the Real Broadcasting Network. Stay informed with more stories on our website at www.therealmediang.com. Also download the RBN app on Google Play Store and Apple Store for iOS devices. You can also follow us across all social media platforms at Real Media NG for real-time updates and in-depth coverage. I'm Fanan Kuwana. It's back to Guchugu and Miriam for the continuation of the morning edition. Good morning.
From our Global News Center, we bring you the latest happenings on the real news.
Jesus. My brother, see road now. If na Lagos now, traffic go don't dey. No go anywhere. My brother, this is why I love Abuja. My brother, na city gate be this. Where you go see before you enter Abuja. If you enter Abuja and you never see this city gate, my brother, na Kemeru you dey. My brother, this is why I love Abuja. My brother, Abuja life too soft. After work like this, now here they come sit down. Then they see fine things that will be sonorous in my spirit. Now why I love Abuja with this? Unity for inside the diversity. Now what did they take to know Abuja for? Now why I love Abuja? You see this place for my back? Luxury on another level. You feel the waka inside. You don't know who you go meet who will change your life. My brother, this is why I love Abuja. But the real reason will make me like Abuja. Now because of real 99.3, where if you say, who they choke mouth on top of real talk, and real people, and all of us will gather together to take choke mouth on top of real matter.
Waiting for the news at the top of the hour? Don't worry, you can now get the news as it breaks. Download the Real Broadcasting Network free mobile app for Android, Play Store, and web to get breaking news alerts as the news breaks. Also, get more detailed perspectives on all major news reports when you visit our website, realmediang.com. You can can always set the agenda here on the Real Broadcasting Network. See it, record it, and share it with us via the free Real Broadcasting Network mobile app for iOS and Android. It's simple. See it, record it, and share it to see it make news headlines. It is Real Broadcasting Network. We the people.
And thank you for staying tuned with us. Right now, we turn to our first commentary. The EFCC is asking Nigerians to come forward with information that could help recover stolen Nigerian assets hidden abroad. And there is money attached to that invitation. EFCC Chairman Ola Olukoyede says anyone who has credible information that leads to the recovery of such assets could receive between 2.5 and 5% of the value recorded. He made a statement at the Cambridge International Symposium on Economic Crime in the United Kingdom, where he was speaking about asset recovery, credible intelligence, and the importance of protecting whistleblowers. And the idea itself, it's not entirely new. The reward is part of Nigeria's existing whistleblower policy. But what makes this announcement interesting is the question of whether Nigerians are actually willing to take up the offer. Because it is one thing to say, if you know where stolen money is, tell us. It's another thing for somebody who actually has that information to decide that they are willing to speak up.
And maybe, Maria, that is because whistleblowing is not as simple as it sounds. Now, imagine that you walk somewhere and you discover that money has been moved illegally. You know the accounts involved, you know who authorized the transactions. You may even have documents that can help investigators trace the money. Now, you are being told that if your information eventually helps recover that money, you could receive a percentage of it. Stay with me. That sounds very attractive. It sounds like a very, very lucrative proposition. But before you make that call, you may have another question. What happens to me if I speak, after I speak? And I think that is part of the conversation that we cannot ignore, because the person with the information may be exposing someone who is powerful, politically connected, or financially influential. So the reward may be attractive, but the fear of retaliation could still be stronger. And these are the concerns.
Right. And we've seen why that fear exists. Take a case of Halima Shehu, who has publicly said that before her suspension as the head of National Social Investment Program Agency, she reported what she described as financial violations to the EFCC and other authorities. She said she handed over documents and information concerning transactions she considered unauthorized and questioned the movement of funds within the agency. She later said in an interview, and I quote, "I blew the whistle, but I got reprisal instead of honor." End quote. That is her account of what happened. She has also denied averting the 44 billion naira she was investigated over and said she fully cooperated with the EFCC. Now, whatever the eventual legal conclusion in that case, think about the message that a story, like this sends to somebody sitting somewhere today with sensitive information. That person may hear the EFCC chairman offering 5% or 2.5% and still ask, if I report what I know, will I be protected? Or could I eventually find myself being investigated as well? These are the concerns of Nigerians now.
In fact, that is where the issue becomes complicated, because a whistleblower is not automatically innocent simply because they provided information. Somebody can report wrongdoing and still have some connection to the transaction being investigated. They may have worked in the organization. They may have processed some of the payments. They may have signed documents. They may have been close enough to the operation to know what was happening. So the EFCC has to be able to make an important distinction. Please make it clear between the person who is providing information and the person who may have participated in the wrongdoing. But for the public, that distinction has to be clear. If I come to you with evidence of financial wrongdoing and you later discover that I had participated some way in the process, maybe unknowingly, what happens to me? Am I protected as a whistleblower? Am I treated as a witness, or can I become a suspect? Because if people do not understand where the line is, they may decide that the safest thing to do is keep quiet. Before you use your hand to put yourself in trouble.
Be at the right place at the wrong time, or at the wrong place at the wrong time now, because there are gonna be questions. You can't just whistleblow without giving full detailed information. I can't be asked, how did you know that this money was here? And then you're going to start narrating. But then, and that may actually be one of the biggest challenges for this policy. It's been there. It's not a new one. The whistleblowing policy did not just start today. But then, the government can offer a financial incentive, but it cannot remove the fear simply by attaching a percentage to recover. But then, I know that the person I'm reporting has political connection, has access to power,
and powerful people.
And powerful people as well, or has the resources to fight back. I may think twice. If I believe that my identity could be exposed, I may think twice. If I have seen other people report wrongdoing and then become, embroiled in the whole investigation, take a look at Mariam Shehu now, I may also think twice. So when Olukoyede talks about whistleblower protection, what part of his statement deserves as much as attention as the monies you'll be getting, the 2.5% or the 5%? Because the real question is not just how much the whistleblower gets. The question is whether after you blow the whistle, is your whistle still going to be given back to you after you've blown it?
And will you have opportunity to blow another one?
Exactly.
Well, so this is where the EFCC needs to be very clear about what that protection actually means. Marian, there's also another thing we need to consider. The people who possess the most useful information are often the people closest to the system. They may be civil servants, they may be accountants, they may be contractors. They may be business associates. They may be people who are involved in processing transactions. Because how do you even have access to the level of information required if you are not somehow embedded in the system? There are often people who can tell investigators exactly where to look because they've seen the documents and they understand how the money moved. But that proximity can also make them vulnerable. If you know exactly where the money went, there's a good chance that people who move the money know who you are. So even when it is said to be coming from an anonymous source, because the people who move the money know exactly who and who has what sort of information, they can still trace it back to you. People may know where these assets are. They may know which companies were used. They may know which properties were purchased. They may even know which foreign accounts received the money. So you could become a millionaire if you help us recover it. That's one part of the conversation. That's what the EFCC is saying. 5%, it sounds good. Not a bad deal. But the EFCC have to also tell Nigerians, this is exactly how we will protect you, right? You cannot build a successful whistleblowing system simply by announcing a reward. You have to build confidence around the reward. People have to believe that the process is fair, that their information will be handled properly, and that they will not be abandoned once they've spoken. These are all of the major concerns.
And then if you take a look at international now, is the whistleblowing only meant for those crimes in Nigeria, or it cut across?
Or the Nigerian assets abroad.
Yes, Nigerian assets abroad. Now, if you now look at those assets abroad, I mean, it's important for EFCC to also clarify. When you talk about the assets of Nigeria abroad that we taken abroad now, recovering an asset in another country is a very different process from recovering something sitting here in Nigeria. There are foreign laws, there are foreign courts, there are banks, there are properties, there are registries, and there are other agencies involved. The law there and the law here are not the same. So even if somebody tells the EFCC exactly where an asset is, the commission still has to establish the evidence and follow the legal process required to bring that asset back. Now, Olukoyede himself pointed to asset tracing, judicial cooperation, and credible intelligence as important factors in successful forfeiture. He also said the EFCC has forfeited more than $500 million in cash and assets to federal government over the past 3 years. So the question becomes whether the commission can consistently turn the information supplied by whistleblower into actual discovery, and the concerns of the whistleblower as to protection after the whistle has been blown. Now, if it does, if they're able to answer this, Nigerians still have another question. What happens after the recovery? All of these funds, all of these assets that are being recovered, what happens to them? Because We often hear figures attached to recovered assets, hundreds of millions of dollars, properties, aircraft, housing, cars, juries, and all. But the public also wants to know what happens after those announcements. Olukorede, in his speech, cited several cases, including the forfeiture of an aircraft linked to an alleged $30 million bribery case and properties linked to former public officials. He even cited the case of Abubakar Bailami, where he says the commission had traced about 57 properties allegedly linked to the former Attorney General and secured forfeiture of 48 of them from the 57. Now, where are these properties? Where are they lying? Are they being auctioned privately or publicly? I mean, these are significant figures. These are questions that should be asked. But when Nigerians should also be able to follow the journey of those assets, know where these are public funds. These are taxpayers' money. What was recovered and what was finally forfeited and what remains in court, what was sold, what was retained by the government, and what value has ultimately returned to the public.
Very genuine questions, very valid. And in fact, there's also the question of whether the reward itself is enough, which is in fact where we'd let you know that we have the space for just one call on this particular subject. So please do put a call across and let us know your thoughts on this. 5% sounds like a lot, especially when we're talking about assets worth millions or even hundreds of millions of dollars. But if the information leads to the recovery of $100 million, for instance, we're potentially talking about millions of dollars going to the whistleblower. If it's 5%, 5% of 100 million is, $5 million. $5 million. I mean, that's a powerful incentive. So the question for you is, would you take that risk? Would you trade your anonymity and possibly your peace of mind for the possibility of receiving millions of dollars later? Let us know. 0906 202 9933. We can take just one call because we're
But we can take a lot of comments.
Yeah,
I mean, text and everything.
Just scoot over to the comment section of our YouTube video and leave your comment right there. I mean, it sounds all good. A 5% deal for whistleblowers. I mean, the whistleblower should know how their reward was determined. That's, in fact, another one again. The public should know what's happened to the remaining value. You raised some concerns about transparency earlier. So if the EFCC wants Nigerians to participate, it has to make the entire process credible, from the first report to the final recovery. And maybe we'll also talk about false information, because once you put money on the table, you will inevitably attract people who want to exploit the system. Somebody can make a false allegation against a political opponent, someone they don't like in an office. A business rival could provide misleading information about another company, and I mean, it could really go south from there. And those are some of the things that Nigerians should be looking out for.
I like that you highlighted that as well, because someone could whistleblow on a competitor and call it, I mean, my neighbor is doing so well. I think this person is involved in some very dubious, not clear means. But actually, the actual fact is that person is just doing a very legitimate business. And then you whistleblow on that person. What is the procedure to carry out, due diligence, investigation to be very clear that this person is actually proceeds from this business are coming from criminal activities, right? So, but then, like you said, are you going to trade your peace, so to say? Because it's not just a whistleblower. It's not just a phone line you're going to dial and say, I've got information, there's some cash stack up, or there's some information, there's some document I can render to you. There's a lot more than that.
If I blow the whistle, will the whistle blow back at me? Stay with us. A business brief is up next with Marian. Don't go away.
Welcome to Business Brief for today, 27th day of August 2026. It's a Thursday, and now the Central Bank of Nigeria has offered 700 billion naira in treasury bills at its second and final auction for August, in another major operation to manage liquidity and raise short-term funding for the federal government. The offer was divided across 3 maturities, with 100 billion naira allocated to the 91-day bill, another 100 billion naira to the 182-day instrument and 500 billion naira to the 364-day bill. The auction has also produced a fresh signal on borrowing cost, with the stop rate on the 364-day Treasury bill repriced to 17.15%. The outcome comes after strong investor demand at the previous August auction when subscriptions reached about 4.4 trillion naira against the 700 billion naira offer, while the one-year bill attracted the bulk of investor interest and its stop rate rose to 17.59%. The latest auction therefore gives the market another indication of how investors are positioning their funds amid tight monetary conditions. Treasury bills remain an important instrument for managing liquidity in the banking system, while providing banks, pension funds, institutional investors, and other market participants with short-term government securities. Strong demand can help the government raise funds, but elevated yields also mean higher borrowing costs and can make it more attractive for banks and investors to hold government securities rather than extend credit to businesses. The August 2026 auction is therefore being watched not only for its impact on government financing, but also for what it signals about liquidity, interest rates, and the direction of Nigeria's fixed income market. The Dangote Industries is moving to acquire its own shipping vessels to transport products from Nigeria to markets across West and Central Africa, as limited shipping capacity and rising road transport costs continue to constrain regional trade. The decision follows difficulties faced by the conglomerate in securing vessels for export, but the company revealing that it was unable to find a ship to move a 1,000 metric ton consignment from Nigeria to Ghana, despite the relatively short distance between the two countries. And the move also highlights a wider challenge for Nigerian exporters who continue to face transportation and logistics costs that can make locally produced goods less competitive in regional markets. Dangote's planned shipping capacity could improve the movement of cement and other products while creating opportunities for Nigerian seafarers and professionals in shipping and international trade. Now, this development comes as Nigeria seeks to expand non-oil exports and deepen regional trade, but the experience of one of its country's largest industrial groups shows that access to reliable and affordable maritime transport remains critical to achieving that goal. And now, Meta is agreeing to pay up to $18 billion over the next decade to settle claims brought by U.S. states accusing Facebook, Instagram of deliberately designing their platform to keep children and teenagers hooked. The settlement is bringing one of Meta's biggest legal battles to an end, while also requiring major changes to how young users access the platform. The agreement is covering claims that Meta misled users about the safety of its platform, exposed young people to harmful content, and improperly collected data from children. Meta is not admitting wrongdoing as part of the settlement, but the company is accepting significant restrictions on its services for teenagers. And under the agreement, Facebook and Instagram will introduce a 2-hour daily usage limit for teenagers, overnight restrictions between midnight and 6 a.m., and muted notification during school hours. Meta will also strengthen age verification, parental control, and protections around features such as visible likes and certain beauty filters. Now, the settlement is potentially significant for wider technology industry, as Meta is calling on platforms including TikTok and YouTube to adopt similar safeguards. For Meta, the agreement removes the immediate uncertainty of a major trial while creating substantial financial operational obligations. It also marks a major shift in how social media companies are being held accountable for the impact of their platforms on young users. And that's Business Brief for today. Up next is Sport Highlights, where the Nigerian Premier League board has secured a new 3-year title sponsorship. More on that with Ugochukwu Madumere on Sport Highlights. Good morning.
All right, and sports highlights this morning. The Nigeria Premier Football League board has secured the new 3-year title sponsorship agreement with Poland-based investment group Euromatch, signing a deal worth $7.5 million to end the league's decade-long wait for a title sponsor. The deal unveiled by MPFL board on Wednesday in Abuja ahead of the 2026-2027 season, which begins this Friday, is valued at $2.5 million annually. Now, 60% of the yearly sponsorship proceeds is going to amount to $1.5 million allocated to the 20 league clubs. Euromatch Group is a Warsaw-based private investment. Warsaw is in Poland, and technology company focused on the global regulated gaming industry. Now, when you take a look at the information on their website, the company's business is built around developing and scaling technology ventures, gaming infrastructure, and brands serving regulated international markets. And their arrival marks the return of a title sponsor to Nigeria's top flight league for the first time since Globalcom sponsorship ended in 2016. Now, MPFL chairman Gbenga Elegbeleye said the partnership would have a positive impact on the salaries and welfare of MPFL players. And the new campaign is scheduled to begin on Friday. It's going to be a Southwest derby between five-time champions, Shooting Stars, or 3SC if you like, of Ibadan, and the newly promoted Inter Lagos at the Lekon Salami Stadium in Ibadan, or your state. And so while we encourage you, or while you do all of the sponsorship and the standing for Chelsea, Man City, Manchester United, get ready to also support your favorite Nigeria Premier Football League clubs, the likes of Abia Warriors, Eimba, Kano Pillars, and what have you. Well, moving on now to basketball, where after bouncing back in the last window to keep their World Cup dreams alive, Nigeria's D Tigers will begin their campaign in the second round of the 2027 World Cup qualifiers with a clash against group leaders Cameroon later on today. Led by coach David Fistel, Nigeria's 12-man roster have been fine-tuning their preparations in Tunisia ahead of the showdown at the Red Sal Multidisciplinary Derade. Heading into the encounter, the Tigers hold a better head-to-head record, having won 3 of their last 4 meetings with Cameroon. Now, after the clash with Cameroon, the Tigers will face South Sudan on August 28 and Cape Verde on August 30, with the Nigerians needing a strong finish to remain in contention for one of the World Cup berths. Nigeria, of course, are among the 12 teams that advanced to the second round of the African qualifiers after the first 3 windows, which were played in November 2025, February 2026, and July 2026. The teams will carry their results from the first round into the second phase, making every game crucial in the race for places at the 2027 FIBA Basketball World Cup in Qatar. Now to Europe, where Savio scored on his Tottenham debut as Spurs advance into a third-round League Cup tie with Liverpool following a comfortable 5-1 win over Charlton Athletic on Wednesday. Spurs, 4-time winners of the League Cup, started their Premier League season with a humiliating 3-0 loss away to Brentford last weekend, but it was a different story at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium with 2 goals in 4 minutes late in the first half from Mickey Moore and Dominic Solanke, leaving the hosts in command before substitute Kevin Danso scored with his first touch, meeting a free kick with a flicked header in the 67th minute. Brazilian winger Savio, that's the one you know as Sabinho. For some reason, he's changed his name to Savio. He joined Spurs for a reported initial fee of $75 million. He came off the bench in the 71st minute and started to repay some of that outlay when he ran inside, beat 2 defenders before letting fly with a shot inside the near post. He also scored again before the end of that game. Now, the 9 Premier League teams that are playing in Europe: Arsenal, Aston Villa, Bournemouth, Brighton, Crystal Palace, Liverpool, Man City, Manchester United, and Sunderland all enter the League Cup in the third round. The draw took place after Wednesday's games, and we have Spurs away to Liverpool, and in one of the possible 6 all-Premier League ties. Manchester United face Brighton, while Chelsea will play Leeds if Xabi Alonso's side get past Luton later on today. And by the way, Luton is being managed by Jack Wilshere, former player of Arsenal. Premier League champions Arsenal travel to Ipswich, while League Cup holders Manchester City are at home to Norwich. Well, moving on now to transfers, where Morocco midfielder Ayoub Bouadi has become the most expensive teenager in Premier League history after joining Manchester City from Lille in a 5-year deal. The French club said Wednesday was worth 100 million euros. That's about 85.6 million pounds. The fee for Bouadi surpasses Manchester United's 58.9 million deal for Lenny Yoro, also signed from Lille in 2024. Now, City moved for Bouadi after selling Spain's World Cup winning captain Rodri to Barcelona, Tijani Rendias to Al Qasida, with Nico Gonzalez also poised to leave the Etihad. The 18-year-old rising star was one of the standout players at the recent World Cup, helping Morocco reach the quarterfinals before they were beaten by France. Bouadi will join Elliot Anderson, who, of course, moved to City from Nottingham Forest. And Bouadi made 96 appearances for Lille after breaking into the first team at the age of 18. And all of the transactions being done at City just tells you that it's a new dispensation at the club. Man City is rebuilding their future. Now, Chelsea midfielder Enzo Fernandez is also understood to remain of interest to City, but the Blues set a recent deadline for bids for the 120 million rated Argentine that passed without a deal being done. And of course, we're keeping tabs on that particular deal. It could actually happen anytime soon. We hear that Man City are still very much interested, and also Nicholas Jackson could be going to Aston Villa. I don't know how Chelsea does it, but kudos to the Blueco company, the owners of Chelsea. Well, that's all we can take on sports this morning. Up next is Global Pulse. Stay with us. On the international scene, at least 157 people have been killed after devastating flash floods and landslides swept through parts of Nepal, while hundreds remain missing along the border with China. Nepalese authorities say 403 people are missing in the country, including 341 foreign nationals, while Chinese authorities have reported another 265 people missing in Tibet, bringing the number of people unaccounted for on both sides of the border to more than 660. Now, the floods destroyed homes, roads and bridges, while several hydropower projects were also damaged. Many of those reported missing were tourists, trekkers, workers and security personnel in the affected border region. Rescue teams are using helicopters, drones and boats in the search for damaged infrastructure, and dangerous conditions are making access to some of the worst hit areas extremely difficult. The disaster has also triggered concern over the possibility of further flooding, with authorities monitoring conditions upstream. China has ordered an all-out search and rescue operation, while Nepal has sought assistance from neighboring countries as the waters recede. Rescuers are continuing to search for survivors and assess the full scale of the destruction. Well, away from Nepal now, the United States says it has disrupted a Chinese state-sponsored hacking operation that targeted some of America's most sensitive institutions. The Justice Department says hackers broke into or attempted to break into networks linked to the Justice Department, NASA, the Federal Reserve, and the U.S. Senate, among other government agencies and organizations. U.S. officials say the operation had been active for years, with activity dating back to at least 2018. American authorities have seized 2 platforms allegedly used by the hackers to carry out cyber attacks, while the FBI says the operation targeted government networks as well as critical infrastructure. Now, Beijing has rejected accusations of state-sponsored hacking. The latest confrontation adds to already tense relations between Washington and Beijing, with cybersecurity now another major point of disagreement between the two powers. The United States has increasingly treated attacks on government and critical infrastructure networks as a national security threat, while China continues to deny involvement in cyber espionage against foreign governments. Iran says military vessels could be barred from passing through the Strait of Hormuz under an agreement it is negotiating with Oman. The announcement follows talks between Iranian and Omani officials on managing shipping through the strategically important waterway, which has remained heavily disrupted amid the conflict in the region. The Strait of Hormuz is a crucial route for global energy supplies, connecting the Persian Gulf with the Gulf of Oman and the Arabian Sea. Any restrictions affecting the waterway could therefore have consequences for international shipping and energy markets. But the latest talks also offer the possibility of a more organized route for commercial vessels as Iran and Oman work on a framework for managing traffic. The developments are already being felt in the oil market. Oil prices fell on Wednesday as investors responded to signs that Iran and Oman were moving towards an arrangement that could ease shipping disruptions through Hormuz. Now, for oil-producing countries, including Nigeria, movements in international crude prices remain closely watched because of their implications for government revenue, foreign exchange, and the wider economy. And finally, at least 14 newborn babies have died after a fire broke out in a nursery at a government hospital in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad. The blaze started early Wednesday at the Pakistan Institute of Medical Sciences, where 15 babies were being treated. Officials say only one infant survived the fire. The fire broke out on the third floor of the hospital's mother and child health ward, with officials saying an explosion involving an air conditioning unit may have triggered the blaze. Emergency workers rushed to evacuate the nursery, while firefighters and hospital staff worked to reach the babies. Images from the scene showed distressed relatives gathering outside the facility as the rescue operation continued. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has ordered an investigation into the tragedy, while Pakistan's health authorities face questions over fire safety and emergency procedures at the hospital. The deaths have caused widespread grief, with families demanding answers over how the fire started and why so many newborns were unable to escape. Well, that's it on Global Pulse this morning. Up next is what's trending online on Virals and Trends with Marian. Stay with us.
Every street has a story. Every struggle carries hope. Every dream deserves a voice. We walk where the people walk. We honor our culture. We tell the stories that matter. This is your voice, your network. Real Broadcasting Network. We the people.
Hello, welcome to Virus and Trend for today. It's a Thursday, a beautiful Thursday, very calm and cool in the capital city, Abuja. And what's trending across social media is what I'm here to tell you. I mean, across your timeline this morning, you'll find these stories, especially if you live in the Federal Capital Territory. Now, what happens when you have legal documents of your property, but a demolition notice suddenly puts your home at risk? Well, that seems to be the situation confronting some residents in the nation's capital, Abuja. The recent flooding in the FCT prompted the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike to order the demolition of structures on waterways. Now, the FCT administration are on full gear to enforce the Abuja Master Plan, prevent flooding and clear the way for infrastructure, commence demolition of structures in areas including the Kasana area of Gwarimpa and surrounding areas. Meanwhile, affected residents say only a 72-hour ultimatum was handed to them before bulldozers started rolling in. Let's take a look. And now, with the Senate stepping in to investigate, questions have been raised about due process, compensation, and the protection of property rights. And this has caused a lot of backlash and comments as regards to the time frame given to them. There are some who say it was 72-hour ultimatum. Some say they were written and given a 21 days. But now, before the 21 days elapse, here is the bulldozer to bring down the building. But then there are a lot of comments on social media. Let's take a look at some of which caught our attention. At Youth in Progress commented, demolition wastes resources on both sides. The citizens who invested to build and the government that deploys tractors, workers with taxpayers' funds to tear it down. A better approach is prevention, strengthening policies and public awareness so such structures never arise. That way, citizens save their money, government save resources, and the nation gains. That is the thoughts and comments of Youth in Progress on X. Another comment that caught attention at Benue Mayor 1. It says, buying properties in Nigeria is increasingly becoming scary. You shouldn't be scared. Just do the right thing. Denike Olori also commented, it's really sad. Worst part is there will be no justice. No one will be held accountable for this. Let the Lord do his work, but you got your legal papers, then there's a legal way to address all of this. But that's one story that's trending across residents in Abuja currently. But then, still talking lands and properties, infrastructure projects are meant to build the nation up, right? But when they roll up through established communities, the human cost can be very devastating. A fresh video from Okunwaja is putting the spotlight on the human cost of major coastal development in Lagos State. Residents claim more than 2,000 homes, including ancestral properties and Bale's Palace, have been lost to sand filling associated with the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway and surrounding developments. Let's take a look at this video.
Fortunate it is to be a Nigerian and to live in Nigeria, because explain to me how you wake up on a random day and you decide to expand the road when you literally have a whole list of other things that you're supposed to be worried about. How lost does your priority have to be for you to expand a road that people barely pass? Like, what are you doing? You came here, you gave a 21 days notice of people to back up, and in less than 5 days you were standing outside and screaming and telling them.
And that is the situation in Abuja and even affecting residents in Lagos. Now, affected residents and stakeholders are speaking out against what they view as a deeply flawed and damaging project. But beyond the outrage is a bigger question. How much should communities have to sacrifice for infrastructure development? And are affected residents being adequately protected or compensated? But here are some of the comments that caught our attention. Let's take a look now quickly. James Elijah commented on X, the coastal highway leads to their prized private development, the Eco Atlantic. That's all it was about. Improving the value of the private investment bought by their control and criminal misapplication of public resources. That is a claim by one user on X. And then another one says, the coastal highway isn't a bad idea, but my reservations are, why the hurry? I believe a proper and conclusive design was not done for the project. If a proper ERA had been done with a detailed design, we wouldn't be experiencing this while the minister is arguing this out. Well, these are comments as regards to road infrastructure. But could this be a case of reincarnation or what? From one generation to the next, Kira, daughter of late Nollywood icon Taiwo Hassan, popularly known as Ogogo, has welcomed a baby boy. This has caused this story to trend. Not just a birth of a new baby, but the timing is what a lot of people are questioning. The new mom shared a heartfelt appreciation message from the hospital bed, thanking everyone who celebrated her beautiful moment. Now, many are calling this baby Kira Ogogo Jr. And many are saying, what a time. Just when the grandfather left, he is back. And some even say the child should be called Babatunde because it feels like Baba is back again. But congratulations to the mom and to baby Kira. As Kira celebrates this beautiful new chapter, social media users have also been sharing their reaction. We'll take a look at that moment quickly and also some comments that have been really in as regards the birth of this child.
I swear, they've been saying congratulations since. Say hello to them. Look at me.
God bless you.
Say thank you, guys. Yeah, say something.
Thank you, guys. Sexy pregnant. Thank you for your prayer.
And that is the daughter of the late Nollywood veteran Taiwo, also known as Ogogo, who barely just left a couple days ago, and just days after, a new baby is being born. This is why so many people are talking. Netizens got words for days on social media. Emmanuel Benjamin commented on X, if you believe in reincarnation, you would understand what the birth of this baby means. Congratulations, dear Kira. That's one comment. Atajibade Samson also commented, congratulations. One of my favorite actors is back as a newborn baby. May God bless him, keep him, and make his face to shine upon him. Amen. And Saroti also commented, after losing Ogogo, welcoming a baby boy at this moment feels like a painful goodbye meeting a beautiful new beginning. May the little boy grow to carry his grandfather's legacy with pride. I mean, that comment caught our attention. Congratulations to the family of Ogogo. I mean, it's quite a very sensitive one. On one hand, you're mourning the death of your father. On the other hand, you're happy that you have a newborn baby. Kind of a mixed feeling right there. But new and deeply disturbing footage from the China-Nepal border captures the scale of destruction along the border after devastating flash floods swept through communities, with hundreds reportedly missing and fears mounting over the death toll. Homes and roads have been inundated, while rescue efforts are reportedly underway for people still missing. Let's take a look at that clip. Quite a devastating moment right there, and we join our prayers for the people in Nepal, of course, at this moment. Let's take a look at some of the comments that we caught on social media. At Mikai says, never in my life have I imagined such absolute devastation. It's heartbreaking for the families of those who were just killed in this horrific incident. At OG12 also commented, absolutely heartbreaking scenes. The scale of this disaster is devastating, with so many people still missing, praying for the victims, their families, and everyone caught in the floods. From all of us right here in Virus and Trends, we do hope that more people will be found, and our hearts are with you this very sensitive times. But that's where we wrap up Viral and Trends with Marian Delacque. Until next time, remember, not every news you see on social media is true. So do well not to share fake news. But for you to get real and authentic news, then keep it right here on Real Broadcasting Network. But easy breezy, visit our website, www.realmediang.com. Up next is our second commentary this morning. The federal government says that released more than 600 billion naira in cash transfer and reached about 10 million households across Nigeria. You find out more right after this break.
Yes, indeed. The federal government says it has released more than 600 billion naira in cash transfers and reached about 10 million households across Nigeria. 600 billion, that's not a small figure. 10 million households, not a small figure either. And when you put those two numbers together, you would expect to see a significant difference in the lives of ordinary Nigerians. But the question we need to ask this morning is simple. Where is that difference that we're supposed to see? And I think that is where the conversation becomes important. Every year, Nigerians hear announcements about billions of naira being allocated to fight poverty, billions for social intervention, billions for vulnerable Nigerians, billions for empowerment programs, billions for feeding programs, billions for cash transfers. The numbers keep coming. It's billions upon billions. But if you speak to the ordinary Nigerian on the street, many of them are still asking the same question. How do I feed my family? How do I pay my children's school fees? How do I pay rent? How do I get to work? How do I afford health care? These are the questions that ordinary Nigerians are asking.
I mean, the very basic is, how do I get food on my table?
So what happens to all the billions that are being disbursed?
I mean, I heard you reel out all the billions in infrastructure, billions in program, billions in health, Billy. It reminds me of Billy. But what do the Nigerian people get from all of these billions that the federal government say it has allocated to different programs now? Is what the Nigerian person is asking. How do I get food on my table to even start with? The road leading to my house is still very much bad. Somebody has to park their cars in another compound for them to get home. And you say there's billions of naira. And that is why I don't think we should simply be impressed by the size of the figures. 600 billion naira sounds enormous when you hear it announced. But what does it mean for the woman in a market who is struggling to sell enough goods to feed her children? What does it mean for the father who is deciding which bill to pay this month? What does it mean for the young person who has been looking for work for years, looking for employment for years now? Those are the people these programs are supposed to reach. But are they getting it?
And in fact, we have to also make it clear that there's nothing wrong with government providing cash transfers. In fact, if a family is struggling to survive, a cash transfer can make an immediate difference. It can put food on the table. It can help pay someone's school fees. It can deal with an emergency. But we have to ask what happens after that money is spent. Does the family have another source of income? In fact, has their situation economically improved, or are they now in a position to survive without another government intervention? Reaching people is not the same thing as lifting people out of poverty, and that, we understand is supposed to be the focus or the focal point of some of these interventions. We'll have to make that distinction. If you say 10 million households have been reached, that's okay. But how many of those households are actually better off today than they were before they received the money? How many have increased their income? How many have moved above the poverty line? How many have become less vulnerable? Those are the statistics that would really tell us whether the intervention is working or not. And I mean, when you're talking all of these numbers.
Where's the data?
Exactly.
Where's the data to back it up? That's the part that's quite difficult. We are very good at announcing what has been approved. We are good at announcing this money has been disbursed for this, for that. But where's the data to back it up to say this money's actually got to the right people that it was meant to and meant for? But implementation is when Nigerians need to see evidence. Because between what is approved on paper and what actually reaches the citizens, sometimes can be very different. 0 to 100. And Nigerians know this experience very well. We've seen budgets where billions are allocated for programs that are supposed to improve people's lives. We hear the figures. We've seen programs headed by people to alleviate poverty, and at the end of the day, it put more people even in poverty. So we hear launches, we hear promises, but when you go back to those same communities and the problems are still there, the same poor road, the same lack of water, the same lack of health care. You hear a donation of, we're donating billions for healthcare for this particular region. But when you go back there to match the announcement and reality, you find out that it's quite the opposite. On one hand, you see the announcement of the billions be allocated for the healthcare project. On the other hand, in reality, the healthcare project is even worse off than what it was. I mean, we saw the other day where a lawmaker who donated some of these items went back as a follow-up. I couldn't even find one item of what was donated to the healthcare. So where is the data to show that it gets to the people? And where is the follow-up, the proof to also show to Nigerian people that, yes, we said we were getting this across to the people, and it did go to the people.
So, like you said, we see donations happen, but donation is not implementation. Approving money is not implementation. Releasing money is not necessarily implementation. Announcing beneficiaries that 10 million people have benefited, that is not implementation.
Where are the 10 million people?
The real implementation, Marian, is when the intended beneficiary actually receives the support and there's a measurable improvement in that person's circumstances. Then we can say that, yes, indeed, whatever that you said before has now been implemented. If we're serious about poverty reduction, we have to follow the citizen, not just follow the money. we should be able to take a household that was receiving assistance and track what happened to the household over time. Because even for some of these cash transfers, it's supposed to last for a certain period of time. Did the intervention help them become economically stable? Did it create an opportunity? Did it help them start something that can generate income? Or did the money simply disappear into the rising cost of living?
So when you say you've now released 600 billion naira in cash transfers to reach about 10 million households across Nigeria, what was the selection process of these 10 million households? From what region are they coming from? Is it cut across all region? And what was your selection to determine that this family from family A, family B, family C are going to benefit from it? And where are the people who are benefiting from this 600 billion naira in cash transfer? And how much is being given to each household of this 600 billion? Is it 10,000 naira? Is it 6,000 naira? Is it 100,000 naira? Is it 50,000 naira? We need to see the people to be able to match what you say in your announcement and the reality of the Nigerian people. We'll keep tabs on it, but you can also let us know if you're one of the families who benefited from this 600 billion naira. It would be good. I'm very glad to hear from you and how you were selected to be amongst these people that should benefit, the 10 million people that should benefit, the 10 million household that should benefit from this 600 billion naira. But we'll keep it right here. The news is up next, top of the hour, 8 o'clock. When we turn our focus to our first big story. The elections are already shipping. We're taking conversations across, the country. But the civil society, that's CISLAC now, is warning against what it describes as a growing, polarization and weaponization of religion in Nigeria electoral process. You don't want to miss this conversation because it affects you and everyone in Nigeria. Keep it right here, Real Broadcasting Network. The news with Fanet Kwanen is up next. Good morning.
You can always set the agenda here on the Real Broadcasting Network. See it, record it, and share it with us via the free Real Broadcasting Network mobile app for iOS and Android. It's simple. See it, record it, and share it to see it make news headlines. It is Real Broadcasting Network. We the people.
RBN Today in History, August 27. History's shortest recorded war lasted less than an hour, but changed the future of an East African kingdom. On 27th August 1896, the Anglo-Zanzibar War broke out between the United Kingdom and the Sultanate of Zanzibar after a dispute over the succession to the Zanzibari throne. British warships bombarded the Sultan's palace, overwhelming local forces in a conflict that lasted between 38 and 45 minutes, making it the shortest war in recorded history. The brief conflict ended with a British victory and the installation of a pro-British Sultan, strengthening British influence over Zanzibar and reinforcing colonial control in East Africa. And that's your RBN Today in History for August 27th.
Every street has a story. Every struggle carries hope. Every dream deserves a voice. We walk where the people walk. We honor our culture. We tell the stories that matter. This is your voice, your network. Real Broadcasting Network. We the people.
This is Real 993. Time check is 8 a.m. From our global news center, we bring you the latest happenings on the Real News.
This is the RBN News Hour from the Real Broadcasting Network. I'm Fanan Kwanam. Here are the top stories. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has challenged the federal government to investigate and prosecute him if it has evidence linking him to the alleged $16 billion power expenditure during his time in government. In a statement issued by his Senior Special Assistant on Public Communication, Frank Shaibu, Atiku accused the Tinubu administration of recycling old allegations to divert attention from questions over revenues saved from the removal of fuel petrol subsidy. He said successive governments have raised the allegations over the years without any prosecution. Atiku urged the federal government to account for the resources generated since the subsidy removal, asking where the people's money had gone. And now the federal government says it will review foreign scholarship programs and redirect more public funds to Nigerian tertiary institutions. Education Minister Tunji Alausa says the government can no longer justify sending students abroad to study courses already available in Nigerian universities, polytechnics and colleges of education. He cited a proposal to send about 100,000 Nigerian students to Morocco to study courses such as mass communication and journalism, saying the students would first have to spend a year learning French. Alausa says the review is aimed at cutting unnecessary spending and strengthening education at home. For anyone who relies on public transportation, it is a frightening possibility. Getting into what appears to be a legitimate vehicle only to discover you are trapped with criminals. In Abuja and throughout the country, those attacks are commonly known as one-chance robberies. In May, lawyer Eunice Ahmed says an ordinary journey home turned into an ordeal that left her robbed, assaulted, and unaccounted for 5 days. She survived now. Speaking exclusively to RBN's Vanessa Docotry, Ahmed is telling her story and raising new questions about the safety of commuters across the Federal Capital Territory.
Once you get into the car, they wind their glasses up.
It started as a routine journey home. Ahmed says she boarded a vehicle in Maitama. But somewhere along the way, she realized it was no ordinary ride.
Before I entered, I saw that there was a lady by the window, so I just told her to adjust, which she did, and then I entered. So about 5 to 6 seconds later, the driver picked a call, and then he was screaming on top of his voice. In his words, he said, "You say waiting, you say waiting." So somehow my attention was already divided. I didn't know what was happening.
Inside the car, Ahmed says the attackers robbed and assaulted her. They took control of her phone and bank account and forced her to transfer money and take out loans. By the time they were finished, she says, they had taken nearly 5 million naira. That financial loss was only part of what she would carry home.
They started beating me. There was a lady at the back. Yeah, she kept beating me. Then the men, one of the guys now strangled my neck and then hit something on my head like a metal or something.
For 5 days, family and friends searched for Ame as her photographs spread across social media. Then came the news they had been waiting for. Eunice was found alive after her kidnappers dropped her off in Mabuchi. One chance attack remains a persistent security concern for commuters across Abuja. And in Ame's case, police says they have made arrests. Last month, police in FCT announced the arrest of members of a suspected one-chance kidnapping syndicate, including suspects who investigators say were Ame's abductors.
My name is Namchi Foma. We do one-chance work. We live in Niger State.
Police say they also recovered nearly 9 million naira. It's not clear yet if Ame's money was among. Authorities are now urging commuters to board vehicles only at recognized motor parks and designated bus stops. For thousands of Abuja commuters, getting into a vehicle like this one is simply part of getting home. Ame survived her encounter, but now she says her stories about helping others know the dangers before it's too late. Her experience also leaving questions for authorities, including how to make an everyday journey safer. In Abuja, Vanessa Docotry, RBN News.
And that's the RBN News Hour. Thank you for staying with us on the Real Broadcasting Network. Stay informed. There's more stories on our website at www.realmediaeng.com. Also download the RBN app on Google Play Store and Apple Store for iOS devices. You can also follow us across all social media platforms at the Real Media NG for real-time updates and in-depth coverage. I'm Fanan Kwano. The morning edition continues with Chuku and Marian. Please stay tuned.
From our global news center, we bring you the latest happenings on the real news.
Jesus. My brother, see road now. If na Lagos na traffic go don dey, no go anywhere. My brother, this is why I love Abuja. My brother, na city gate be this. Where you go see before you enter Abuja. If you enter Abuja and you never see this city gate, my brother, na Cameroon you dey. My brother, this is why I love Abuja. My brother, Abuja life too soft. After work like this, now here I dey come sit down. There's a see fine things that will be sonorous in my spirit. Now why I love Abuja with this? Unity for inside the diversity. Now wetin dem take know Abuja for? Now why I love Abuja? You see this place for my back? Luxury on another level. You feel the waka inside. You don't know who you go meet wey go change your life. My brother, this is why I love Abuja. But the real reason wey make me like Abuja na because of real 99.3 where e be say we dey chook mouth on top real talk and na real people and all of us go gather together to dey for chook mouth on top real matter.
Every street has a story. Every struggle carries hope. Every dream deserves a voice. We walk where the people walk. We honor our culture. We tell the stories that matter. This is your voice, your network. Real Broadcasting Network. We the people.
Glad to know you're still with us right here on the morning edition on the Real Broadcaster Network. Now, let's take a look at the coming elections, and preparations are getting very much heated now. But the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, is warning against what it described as the growing politicking and weaponization of religion in Nigeria electoral cycle.
Well, there's a statement by its executive director, Awal Musa Rafsanjani. CISLAC says religious platforms should not become tools for political mobilization, partisan endorsements, voter manipulation, or intimidation. The organization is also raising concerns about reported gatherings of religious leaders endorsing political figures and parties, as well as alleged threats against residents in Kuje Area Council over their political choices. This morning, we have joining us virtually the Executive Director of CISLAC, Awal Musa Rafsanjani, to speak on some of these issues. Mr. Rafsanjani, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
All right, very well. We saw the statements that you put out, trying to speak to politicization and weaponization of religion in Nigeria, and particularly to some of the political rhetoric that we're already seeing ahead of 2027. Let me start from some of the comments that were made by the chairman of Kuje Area Council, Mr. Samuel Shekolo, threatening residents who are not in support of the APC, in fact, to leave the area council. Now we understand he's tried to clarify some of what he said, to say that his words were taken out of context. But we heard him. Nigerians heard what he said. You also saw some of those statements. What do you make of statements like that?
Thank you very much. I think these are very, very, very dangerous utterances, to say the least, reckless, irresponsible utterances coming from public officials. It's not just coming from just ordinary person. This is coming from a official of the area council, the head of the area council, that's the chairman of the area council, making this statement clearly violates Nigerian constitution, violates international commitments made by Nigeria on various instruments, protecting and giving the right of Nigerians to freedom of expression, freedom of choice. And to make this statement openly, it is circulating everywhere on various social media platforms. It was not like a statement that was quoted him, without his visual. He spoke, and it's all over. The reason why he is now trying to do damage control after some couple of days is simply because civil society organization, particularly Amnesty International, had warned that will propry him they will profile him and they will make sure that all over the world he is, his reckless utterances is taken note, and they will make sure that the international community takes necessary action, since our own country has not been able to even caution him. Ideally, you expected that the ruling party of his, that is his own party, and then the Nigerian government generally should have disassociated themselves from such kind of utterances, which clearly is meant to create mayhem, violence, deprive citizens from participating peacefully in what they will want to choose as a political party. I think it's a very dangerous scenario, and it began with the senator from Osun State, who had also ordered killings of Nigerians simply because they are not his own party. At the same time, that same senator, when Amnesty International threatened that they will profile him, he went to court to beg court to stop Amnesty from taking action against him. I think beyond just the Amnesty International, we expected that the government and their parties, the ruling party, which they were making those careless and responsible utterances, they should have come out to also either condemn or distance themselves from such kind of things that are clearly anti-constitution, anti-human rights, and anti any civilized thing, because we are running a constitutional policies in Nigeria. Nigerian government registered political parties, and which means that people have the choice to choose whatever political party they so wish. But for somebody who is a serving senator, who is a serving local government chairman, to come up to make this kind of utterances clearly shows you that the 2027, some people are determined to make it miserable, difficult, violent, and we need to do something to make sure that we protect the lives of Nigerians. We cannot continue, because of the election, be losing lives of Nigerians. Before the election in Osun, we have it on record, over 28 people were killed.